Good morning. As I've been making these videos here lately about manifestation the videos I've been making about manifestation, I make other videos too, but because my channel is not a single issue channel, it's just me. Sharing some of my thoughts, some of my sarcasm, silliness, things like that in different videos. I'm thinking about this game of life, this life game, and the fact that where you put your awareness, where you put your focus, is what your life is, what it manifests, what is made known, what we see and experience here in this seemingly objective, seemingly physical, seeming reality. And our life is like, the whole mental game is like in the Bible, where it has Jacob's ladder, and he sees, it wasn't him going up and down the ladder of heaven, but he sees angels going up and down the ladder in the Bible. And of course, if you take the Bible for what it is, just a metaphorical book full of allegories and archetypes of personalities and states of mind. Just like you can do that with anything. You can do that with a television show. You can do that with a comic book, because that's what we do. They're all just reflecting ideas, states of mind, states of consciousness, states of so-called physical reality, and things like that. You know, comic books, anything. So, the Jacob's ladder, it's the thoughts going up and down. It's the thoughts coming and going. The feelings coming and going. That's what those angels going up and down the ladder represent. In Kabbalistic mysticism, you have what they call the tree of life, with the things that kind of look like a little hopscotch layout when you were kids, or kids lay out a little with that sidewalk chalk and do the hopscotch. The up and down. It's an up and down thing. Well, it's the same thing. Get it, buddy. It's the same thing. Some kind of motorcycle. He's in a hurry to go to work, I guess. It's the same thing as the whole up and down movement is like the Kundalini energy people talk about, or the Kundalini snake going up and down. Because the Jacob's ladder represents the vertebrae, the spine. Your spine, up and down. And again, it's not all about physical, your physical body or anything like that, because you're not your body. Your body is not, quote, objectively real. Nothing is objectively real but consciousness. And within that consciousness, there is only states of consciousness. Individuated states. All of us human beings are individuated states of the one mind, the one universal mind, or universe, or the all, as the Kundalini calls it, or as religious and spiritually, theologically thinking people call it, God, the mind of God. Well, those states that are individuated humans, well, there's also individuated states of consciousness, of every grain of dust to insects to animals, to all what we call subatomic particles are nothing but consciousness, just pure consciousness. That's all matter is made of. It's just consciousness, made of mind. And it makes this seemingly real, seemingly objective, seemingly physical reality something that we can have experiences in. It's dreams. It's lucid dream that God is having. But also within the individuated states, because everything's a golden ratio, everything's a factual of itself, a pattern of itself. This is what sacred geometry will show you, like the golden ratio and things like this. Well, within each individuated state, within myself, within you, are individuated states that we choose to be in. Again, states like, okay, a general state is wealth, another one is health, another one is love, your romance life, to how you love your neighbor, the person that physically lives next to you in your neighborhood, or down the road if you live in the country, whatever, what you love, you love your job, love your pets, whatever it is you love. Okay, so there's these states, and then Like you can have a state where one person's in the state of they're very, very wealthy. Another person is in the state as, well, I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. I have a little extra money in the bank. And then there's the people that, they're in the state when it comes to finances and money. They're in physical wealth, material wealth. Well, I'm in the state that I always just make enough. I always have just enough for my bills and the things I need. And either that's okay with them or not. That's up to them. And then other people are into the state, well, I got a little bit of money, but I still struggle. I need help, blah, 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 blah. And then there are people that are just completely, totally poor, don't have any money or any material wealth or anything like that. And that's that state. Now, the only freedom, as Neville Goddard said, that man really has, but it's the only freedom we need, is the freedom to choose what state you're in. And people think, well, we have a freedom of action, freedom of speech. I just did a video where I talked about freedom of speech and freedom of thought, things like that, titled Thought Control. But in true reality, get down to brass tacks, as the saying goes, the only freedom we have is to choose what state we're in. If you choose the state that you have free speech, for that matter, if you choose the state that you are financially well off or just doing okay or poor, you can choose the state of your health. You choose it with your mind. You think it's actions. Well, I eat a certain way and I exercise. Well, a lot of people do that and they still don't have good health, right? Or not the weight they want to be, or have the body like they would like to have, etc. You can choose. Well, I like to be wealthy or be well off, but the state you're in. What's the state you return to? What's your normal state through the day about your finances, about your health, about your relationships, about everything? And your car, your dog, your state about where you live, everything, your job, your state about your neighbor, your state about a coworker at work, whatever. What is your state? Well, how do you see them? Actually, how do you see yourself? Now, everything in that state identifies with the identity you choose to be. So if you choose to be the person who's sometimes gets along with their coworker, sometimes don't. You choose to be the person who's got, some health, but not exactly where you would like to be. Or you choose a state where you lose a little bit of weight, but it's really hard to keep it off. You choose the state that your dog is a good dog, but he's always getting out of the fence, right? And you have to get him all the time, get in the way. All right? Yeah, you can choose those kind of states. There was a person I heard a story of that chose this. They had a cat that was always it was an older cat, and it was always pooping all over the place in the house. And instead changed the state to no, this cat doesn't do that. This cat uses litter box, whatever. And that happened. There's a guy on YouTube who teaches manifestation, talked about how he got in the state worried about his cat's health. All of a sudden, his cat came down with some kidney problem or something like that, and was on the verge of death, and took it to the vet and everything, and on the verge of death. And then he realized, he talks about this in the video, he realized he had put that cat, or chose to see that cat from that state. And so he chose to be the person who had a cat that was in that medical state, that was ill and dying. And he changed his absolute identity and said, no, I'm the owner of this cat that's healthy and doing well. That cat mysteriously was healed. People have seemingly healed themselves from cancers and all kinds of diseases, to just chronic skin issues, all kinds of things, by simply changing their identity or their state. Because a state of consciousness, because there's only consciousness and states within that consciousness, numerous states. People talk about there's multiple possibilities for you, there's multiple realities of you, blah blah blah. What they mean is there's potential states, and you get to choose the state. That's the only freedom you have, and the only freedom you need is to choose the state. Well, within that state is an identity. The easiest way to choose the state, that state has a perspective, how it sees the topic, whatever the topic is, on wealth, health, etc. Your cat, whatever. Your dog, whatever. Your relationships, etc., etc., etc. That person chooses that state. That state contains a perspective, or how you see the world from that state. Well, a lot of decent teachers on YouTube that teach manifesting, and I'm not a manifesting coach. I'm not trying to teach anything. I'm sharing my ideas and documenting my ideas in my video diaries here for myself. I don't have a big channel. I'm not, hey, if all of a sudden somebody really likes a video and it goes viral, I'm glad. That makes me happy. But that's not my aim. My aim is just to get my thoughts out and to share them. If anybody's interested, that's fine. But that's why I make them public. I don't put comments under my videos because it's not up for discussion. This is my channel, and I'm just sharing my ideas. But anyhow, I don't promote my channel. I don't put tags. I don't do any of that kind of stuff. So anyhow, back to me just talking out loud to myself here, and to anyone that wants to listen to this video, because I'm driving in the dark and it's kind of hard to see me anyway, so there's nothing to see. But anyhow, if you want to just look up my nose, that's where the phone is sitting. But anyway, those states, that identity you choose that identity, and that's how you're going to have that perspective, how you're going to see the world, right? If you don't like how things are, change how you see it. Change your state of mind about it. Change your perspective. I remember when I met my wife 9 years ago, we're celebrating here our 9th anniversary. And when we met, one of our very first conversation, I was talking to her and I was just rattling on to her about perspective, because I was learning metaphysics and had been learning it for about a year and a half or something like that when she and I started talking. And I was telling her how, I learned that life is about perspective. It's not about positive thinking. You're just seeing things everything in a positive light. That's okay, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I was talking about is seeing light in situations, especially situations you want to change or you don't care for, seeing them in a perspective that you do want them to be, how you would like to see. Because in this life, this seemingly duality type existence, you know what you don't. When you find out what you don't want, you automatically start going back up to what you do want. And this is that up and down, like the tree of life. This is that up and down like the Kundalini, the Jacob's ladder with the angels back and forth. You go to heaven, you come back to earth. You go to heaven, you go back to earth. I've got a video that I'm going to be uploading today, before I upload this video, about the whole idea of duality and dualism, and how people, the seemingly dual world, which is really just one, and the divine paradox that it is, and how people get wrapped up in one end of the stick, or they get wrapped up in the as above so below, they get wrapped up in the below part, and they're just locked down to earth, and they see everything, this earthly world, as real and as objective truth, whereas this reality, this so-called reality, this existence, this earthly human existence, the experience is real. Just like the movie you watched last night, the television show, or the Shakespeare play or something, stage play, it's not real. The actual thing is real. The entertainment and all that, and the experience of watching it is real. But itself was not real, okay? It was just fiction, right? Well, and it's just like playing, if you played a video game last night, okay? A video game, or you played one today, whatever. The point is that video game world itself is not real. But the experience of playing the video game is real. Gaming and all that is real. You see? So, the problem that people make the mistake of is they go one end of the graph or one end of the stick and stay on one end, or up and down if you want to do vertical, or you want to do horizontal. If you want to do vertical, then it is the whole up and down, they get stuck. And Rudolf Steiner talked about this when he talked about Ahriman, who was like basically the devil of Zoroastrianism, and how some people become Ahrimanic and too earthly, too dense, too thick. They get lost up in this material world, the physical world, the Ahrimanic way of looking at things, the Ahrimanic perspective. And then he talked about the Luciferian, the Luciferian so-called fallen angel, the high archangel of the Bible God, Lucifer. How Lucifer, and actually that comes from an ancient Baal worship type thing, but anyhow, it's just different mythologies mixing up with each other. But anyhow, Lucifer, Luciferian mind that Rudolf Steiner talked about, the mystic from the 19th and 20th century, the late 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s, he talked about the Luciferian perspective as too much of the extreme of up, okay, or the other end of the stick. It is too extreme. It's this love and light, woo-woo spirituality. Some Christians are so spiritual, or some people are so spiritual, like, I'm just not in this world anymore, and I just don't care about anything. And I am satanic towards that. That's my Satanism aspect of myself. is that I believe in enjoying your carnal pleasures. I've talked about that in videos. Enjoy your carnal pleasures and enjoy your earthly life, knowing that it's just a video game, if you will, or a mental matrix game, and enjoy your earthly life. And you're here to experience this life. Now, you have the Christian Gnostics and regular Christians and other religions that teach this. You're supposed to be so aloof and, this world is not real. Well, it's not real. The experience here is real. That's like telling somebody that's playing a video game, hey, it's not real, it's not real, it's not real. The whole time they're trying to play the fucking video game, they're going to tell you, shut the fuck up. The experience of playing the game is real. Somebody's telling a movie or, wrestling, trying to tell you, it's not real, it's not real. Shut up, I'm trying to enjoy this. Well, that's the way it is. Enjoy it, and then you come back out of the movie theater, or you stop watching the TV show, or if you're watching, a movie at home, or the video game, or you come home from watching the stage play. Maybe your child was in a stage play at school, you go watch, or whatever, or you go watch, some professional Broadway play. You come out going, you enjoyed the experience, the fucking world that you were watching, the fiction little world was fiction, but while you were watching it for the hour, 2 hours, or whatever, you were just in that world, you were enjoying it. And that's the way you should see your human life. But you're going up and down. And what happens is, when people want to manifest things, they'll get in a state of wanting to manifest something. They'll get in a state that it's manifested. They'll be in a state, they'll see the world as, okay, this is already a done deal. My bank account, I have money, I'm doing well, blah, blah, blah. And then they come back and they see that their bank account hasn't changed. They come back down to earth. Well, you got to be down to earth, man. They come back down to earth to their human self, and they see the bank account. The difference is you become single-minded when you come back down from that. People talk about manifesting techniques and imagining and state akin to sleep, which Neville Goddard taught, which is just a technique. All techniques, manifesting techniques, are just to help you to see that reality. If you say, well, I want to manifest this, that, and the other. I've never been in a happy relationship. I've never felt healthy. I've never been the weight I want to be. I've never had enough money. Never had a good car or whatever. So you do an imagining manifestation technique. That helps you just see the world from that experience, from that identity. You become that person for a few seconds doing that technique, and you begin to choose, and you accept. You say, you know what, I accept that that's my reality. Then you come back, and you still got the shitty car. You still have the loneliness or the shitty relationship, the shitty job. You still got the bad health. You still got the body in the mirror that you don't like, etc., etc., etc. You come back with a single mind. Let your eye be single. Christ said, right? Christ representing the Christed mind, the anointed mind, the awakened mind, the heavenly mind. He said, you're in the world, but not of the world. And that's what it means, is once you go up as above, so below. Where Christ told Peter, he says, I'll give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. And whatsoever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatsoever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. And heaven and earth meet. And heaven represents your mind. So when you go up as above, so below. As below, so above. As within, so without. As without, so within. As the soul, so the universe. As the universe, so the soul. A lot of people, all they know is the first part of that. As above, so below, so below. They don't read the Kybalion. They don't understand the whole saying. But anyhow, so it is as below. Everyone says as above, so below, but they forget the second part. As below, so above. So if you, as above, you in your spiritual mind, you go up the tree, up your spine. Jacob's ladder, the angels go up. You go up and you imagine the thing you want. Okay, I did the technique. Okay, I see the world as, okay, I can see how I would really like to, I can see myself having the money I want, the car I want, the love I want, the good friendship with this neighbor, etc., etc. And then you come back now to physical earth because you're coming back into this game. You're playing this video game. You put your VR headset back on. You come back to your physical senses. And your physical eyes, your physical ears, nose, smell, and touch, and taste, and all that. And you go, well, the bank account's still saying this, or this, that, and the other. So now, as below, so above. Because that's the law or principle of correspondence. Also taught in the Kybalion. By the way, the term law of attraction is in the Kybalion, and it's not really a law. It's a reference to the principle that's also in the Kybalion called the principle of correspondence, anyhow. Also, in the Kybalion, it teaches the principle of polarity. One end of the stick or the other, one end of the graph or the other, or up and down if you want to go vertical, if you want to go horizontal. It's because all things are one, as I explained in my video I'll be uploading later this morning. that I did yesterday about dualism or duality and dueling, fighting, thinking you got to fight the other end of the stick instead of seeing it's all one. Let he that have ears, let him hear. He that have eyes, let him see. You have to understand. You have to begin to think. The Bible talks about to be spiritually minded is life, to be carnally or physically minded is death. Now, you also don't want to be so Luciferian minded that you become, I'm using Steiner's example of Lucifer, because by the way, Steiner never said that Lucifer or Ahriman was bad. He was just simply saying, he was using Ahriman as an archetype from the Zoroastrian form of a devil. He was using that to show that being so dense and materialistic and worldly and non-spiritually minded and not understanding consciousness creates reality, and consciousness is the only reality, as Neville Goddard said that consciousness is the only reality, and he also said that consciousness creates reality. It chooses reality. Whatever you're conscious of becomes your reality, no matter what the physical world says. No matter what the below says, if you stick to your guns and keep making that decision every day, that's the only so-called technique you need. I believe in techniqueless manifesting. The only technique you need, manifesting technique, is no, because you do it all the time anyway, naturally. Now you do it consciously and on purpose, is what you choose to be real for yourself. And how you choose what is real for yourself, backing into my space here at work, is by simply choosing to see the world from that point of view. Neville Goddard used to say, how would you see the world if the thing that you wish to be true and to manifest was already a done deal? How would you feel? How would you see the world? That is the identity. How would that person see things? That perspective. How would you see the world if you were now in the relationship you wanted? I got to that point. One of my, quote, biggest things I've ever manifested in my life as I was learning this stuff was my wife. And again, we're celebrating our 9th anniversary. Been looking and trying to understand this stuff for about a year and a half. And I was first starting to learn this. I'd been listening to Neville Goddard, Ernest Holmes, Florence Scovel Shinn I was already a little aware of a couple of years beforehand, but didn't really get into it until 2016, and then just went full down bore, never looking back in 2019, because I was still mixing in Christianity and other bullshit that I believed at the time. But anyhow, I stopped seeing the Bible as literal in any shape, form, or fashion, and began to see it for the mystical book that it is. So anyhow, I made up my mind. I was like, well, how am I going to find the woman, of my dreams? I've had failed marriages and relationships. How am I going to find the woman of my dreams that I'm right for and she's right for me? And because I'd been with women that I wasn't right for and they weren't right for me. And some of them were decent ladies, decent people. It didn't work out for us. And for one reason or another, or reasons or another. And I'd actually been with a couple of just she-devils. I mean, evil bitches. Because of decisions I made, and choices that I made, and desperation, and just wanted to be happily married and or in a relationship or whatever. And I finally said, you know what? I'm just going to be in the state of mind. I'm going to be the identity. I'm going to be the Ryan. That's my name, Ryan. I'm going to be the Ryan that's happily and blissfully married. I got the word blissfully married from somebody's video talking about Neville Goddard. And I was like, I'm just going to be blissfully married. Just happy. I just love the way she looks, her personality. We get along. She loves me. She's very happy with me. Because for me to be blissfully and happily married, I want to know that my wife is just absolutely in love with me and finds my beastly ass attractive, and she loves my personality, just loves to be with me, and we're that way. We when I'm at work, I miss my wife, and she's always texting me through the day. She misses me. I miss her. I text her. I miss her. I love her. I just love being with her all the time. We enjoy each other. But I was part of the blissfully married, right? Well, it came to pass, and I didn't look for women. I didn't do the apps. I didn't look for anyone. I was in a store going, is she going to be my future wife? I didn't even think about that anymore. I'm just going to live my life, go to work, work out, lifting weights, do that kind of stuff, just do my studies in metaphysics, listen to music, live my life. So I just went home and I just would live my life. And I lived alone at the time, and I just did my thing, and I didn't worry about it. Like I said, I didn't date. I didn't doubt either, because I was in the state that was already happily and blissfully married. And just being the state, being the identity, But that up and down, if you want to do the vertical, the up and down, the Jacob's ladder or the tree of life in Kabbalistic mysticism, this up and down, or the Kundalini snake that goes up and down, up and down. That's above, so below. Or you can do it horizontally, like a graph or a stick, left to right, left to right. That polarity of up and down, up or down, the polarity of left or right is you want to be in the middle. That's the whole key, is you want to be in the middle and be in the balance that you want of the things that you want. You become the identity of that person. You don't get so materialistic or Ahrimanic, to use Steiner's version of Ahriman, the archetype Ahriman, because there's different archetypes, and some people take certain characters certain ways. Like the Joker in the Batman The Dark Knight, some people see him as an evil psychopath and things like that, and other people see that archetype as someone who, there's some genius and actually has some good points. You know what I'm saying? Or some people see Batman as a bad guy because he's a vigilante. It's however you see the archetype, actually. It's not just who the writer creates the archetype, whether it's in a so-called spiritual religious text or just a modern movie or television show or something. It's the archetype is how you actually see it is what matters, right? In the Bible, those are different archetypes, states of mind, mental states. So anyhow, the gods, the demons, and the devils, the angels, the good spirits, the daemons, all these things, it's all just how you choose to see those archetypes. So, anyhow, my wife and I, we see the television show version, the original television show version of Gomez Addams and Morticia Addams of the Addams Family television show. That's kind of archetypes of our marriage, really. It's the way we see each other. So, but anyhow, and how we see our marriage, but it's however you choose to see things and who you identify as being. You go up to heaven, you imagine, you use your imagination, you think of what you want, and you can go up to heaven in your mind and think of bad things about yourself. And then come back to earth and see it, continue to see it that way. People go up in their mind and imagine good things. And I don't mean just fantasize, they actually choose, they're looking at something from that state of mind, and then they come back to earth and they live their life through the day and they totally forgot what they have imagined. And as long as they don't think negatively or contradict that, it still manifests. That's why a lot of things manifest. Good things come when you think about them and then you forget. But if you come back to your normal senses and you see, well, my bank account still ain't got no money, or I'm still lonely, or I'm still sick, or this, that, and the other. No, you keep choosing when you come back down to earth from your imaginative act. You keep choosing all through the day. Well, this is who I am. And you're not doing it to make it happen, because it's doing it from a state of lack. You do it from the state, the other polarity, that you already have it. No, I just have it. And the middle part, if you will, of that, the balance of that is, you ain't got it right now. You're not delusional, but you also know that what's going on right now, that bank account or that health is going to get better, that the bank account's going to have the money. You see what I'm saying? All right, I'm going to stop this video here. I may add some more to it a little later on. I don't know. But either way, have a great day. One thing I've noticed shooting these videos here lately, where I shoot them in pieces and then edit them together with this editing program I have on my phone, blend them together. So I shoot my videos in pieces or stages or whatever. And one thing I've noticed, it's because the videos, it's like a video notebook for me, a video diary. When you're writing down notes for yourself about something, and then you read over those notes and you go, oh yeah, it reminds me, I want to put this to it, or I want to add this, or I need to correct that and scratch that word out. It's one thing I do like about doing these videos, particular videos in pieces. I can go back and listen to them and see if there's anything I missed, or what do I want to add, if I do want to add anything, or correct something where I've misspoke, because dyslexia, I misspeak a lot. So, and there are words that I don't pronounce correctly, and I know that drives some people wild, and I don't give a fuck. If I'm misspeaking and I meant something, like I meant to say the sun instead of the moon or something like that, that's pretty obvious. If I don't pronounce a word correctly, that just simply means that I've read it and never heard it spoken. Or, so, because I do read, I've been reading all my life. I don't just watch YouTube videos to learn. And if I misspoke it and that I mispronounced a word or something, then you know what I meant. So anyhow, the whole fictional worlds thing, that's what movies and plays, stage plays, and television shows are creating. Video games, it's fictional worlds. This world is a fictional world where we talk about, you need to come back to reality, man, or come back down to earth with your thinking, man. People think that this reality here, when you wake up from sleeping, like I did this morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, when you wake up to come to work, or wake up in the morning, whatever, you think that you're actually waking up. No, it's the opposite. When you die, we call that the eternal sleep for the human body and the human character. You're not eternally asleep. You actually wake up. You realize that you are just consciousness. People that have out-of-body experiences or near-death experiences where they go out of body, they can tell you that they're their consciousness. They're not this human body and human brain. Consciousness continues without the brain. So, to me, people that don't believe that nowadays, it's just, I don't even have time to discuss anything with you. You don't even think for yourself. But, sorry, that's kind of how I feel about people still wearing masks. But anyway, I don't want to digress on that. I mean, you got to have some IQ. You got to have, some awareness about your life. Anyhow, but the fictional world, this life here is a fictional, not the game, not the movie that you're watching, television show, or the stage play you're watching. It's real, but the world it's creating is not real. It's a fictional world. And you play, when you're watching a movie, my wife and I watch a lot of movies and shows together and stuff. And we talk about if the writing is wrong, or someone is a bad actor, one of the characters has a bad actor playing that character and they just do a bad job, and it just throws you out of that world. You can go along with the fantasy world of whatever they're creating, but even if they break the rules of their own fantasy world, it just kind of throws you out of that world, and you're like, I can't watch this show, it's horrible. All right, because it can't keep you in that fantasy world because they have bad writing or bad acting or something. In some cases, it's bad props, But the fictional worlds, and this is a fictional world, and this is a subjective world, and it is subjective to the only objective, which is consciousness. Consciousness is the only true, eternal, objective truth. Mind is the only law. We talk about the laws of nature. There may be laws of nature here, like laws of gravity and things like that, but those are only subject to the laws of consciousness, and that's why seemingly miracles can happen that seem sometimes to break the so-called laws of nature, like the fish's love story I talked about, that's in the Bible that I talked about in a previous video, is, seemingly just because it's showing abundance, right? People think that, there's a lack of something. And it's like the double slit experiment. If you don't know what that is, Google it, YouTube it, whatever. But the double slit experiment proves that matter is conscious and it is subjective or subject to your consciousness. Anyhow, this is a fictional world, and the experience is real, just like playing a video game or watching a TV show or a movie. That experience is very real. So this fictional world, you play along in this fictional world. In this world, you have to drink water, you have to sleep, you have to eat, you have to poop, you have to pee, you have to you have desires, sexual desires, material desires. You want to be warm, you want to be comfortable, you don't want to smell things that stink. These things like that, you play along in this world, right? But it's still a fictional world. It's not true. It's like the comedy movie called Free Guy, which is very funny. A fictional character in a video game, he becomes awakened. He develops a self-awareness. It's pretty interesting, pretty fun. I like Neo waking up in the Matrix. He's awakened now. He knows what's going on. He knows who Agent Smith is and all this type of stuff. Something I want to talk about, what I'm talking about, is the contrast: as above, so below; as within, so without; as above, so below; as below, so above; as within, so without; as without, so within. It's both. It's equal. It's not just as above, so below. It's also so below as above. So if you want a reality to manifest, better money, better health, etc., and you choose that awareness, right? And then you go about your day and you start thinking about how, you're still lonely, you don't have the marriage or love that you want, or you're still frustrated about this bad situation, you want a better job, or you want more money or better health or a better car, those type of things. Then you're going back to that awareness, and that's the main state. Neville Goddard talks about your main state. Some people talk about in metaphysics the principle of 5149, where for the most part you mostly want, like 51%, you want to be mainly in the state that the thing is manifested. I would say, you probably want to do more than that, but I'm not going to argue silly things like that. The point being is that your main state, like Neville said, your thing is manifested, it's real. So when you come back to Earth from going up into the mind, and I don't mean your physical cranial mind, I mean this is just symbolic. You go up into heaven. Heaven isn't real. There's no up or down. This is just a dream world, dream matrix. People argue on whether the Earth is flat or round, and I say it's both, because it's just a realm. This is a dream world. When you look, it's going to be a globe or round, in my opinion. When you look into outer space, you're going to see stars or suns. You're going to see, what is it called? Astronomical or things out in the cosmos. You're going to see planets, things like that, asteroids, meteors. You're going to see stuff like that. Like Thomas Campbell, the nuclear physicist, come metaphysician, who wrote the book My Theory of Everything, and he has YouTube video, has a YouTube channel. And he's been talking now for decades about how he went out of body numerous times at the Monroe Institute. And it's documented he could go out of body. He should see that consciousness is the only reality, and that different realities are possible for you. It's whatever you put your awareness on, because that there's only conscious awareness, as Neville and many mystics before Neville Goddard were teaching. But Neville Goddard taught a technique called SATS, which is an acronym for state akin to sleep. And it's a hypnagogic state. It's where you self-hypnotize yourself, where you're half asleep, half awake, like when you're getting ready to go to sleep in the morning, at night, or, well, if you work night shift, I guess you would go to sleep in the morning, and when you're beginning to wake up, if you're waking up, slowly and naturally, and not with a damn alarm clock, but you just get to wake up naturally, like on the weekends or something, your days you don't have to work. But that's that hypnagogic, or when you're just sitting there kind of dozing off, you're fixing to take a nap or something. That's a hypnotic state. It can be a hypnotic state or hypnagogic state. And the reason he taught this is it helped you to relax your physical brain, or like meditating. Meditating is not stopping thought, it's simply slowing thought down. You focus on the sound of a fan, an air conditioner, things like that. Focus on watching the wind blow through the leaves. If you're sitting on the beach, watch the waves, things like that. You can meditate walking down the street, just thinking about your breathing. You can meditate raking leaves or sweeping your floor or something like that. You can meditate while you wash the dishes. Your brain has a little something to focus on, your physical brain, and so, which is your carnal mind, your so-called ego, which is not your enemy, by the way. It's your virtual reality tool. Your hood that you put on, your virtual reality goggles or headset that you put on to experience this world, is your five senses, including your human brain and things like that. That's how you experience this matrix, this video game, and how you play your character, which is your human self. And this is how you can experience the smell, taste, and feeling, touch, sight, and things like that. So when you get in between those two worlds, is what Neville was showing you. When you get in that state akin to sleep, it's almost you're sleepy or you're almost waking up. You're halfway in between the two worlds, right? That's a hypnotic state, and you can, or hypnagogic state, and it's basically a self-hypnosis state that you can use, or if you're just sitting in your lounge chair and you're about ready to take a nap, and you can simply just kind of choose what you want to imagine is true for you. And then he said it would manifest, right? Then a lot of people do that. They'll do it really good at it. They're real good at it, right? It's like some people are really good at just meditating. They're just really good at it. But then the thing don't manifest for them. It's because when they come back down to earth, they come to the below, back into their human self fully, and they're going through their day, and they start doubting and trying to figure it all out. I talk about, the doubts and the figure it outs and the fight it outs, trying to force things to happen. God damn, if you could make something happen or figure it out, you would do it anyway. You don't need to worry about manifesting, right? Manifesting is that go-to when you want to see the world, live your life that you want, that you don't know how to do it, or it seems impossible, or you can't, right? So you choose to see the world, you become that identity of that person that has that thing, and so that's a state of mind, right? So you go up to heaven, you go above, you go to the universe, you go without. And then when you come back down to below, or come down the ladder. You go up the ladder of heaven, you come down the ladder, Jacob's ladder, or up the Sephirah of the tree of life and Kabbalistic mysticism, and you come back down. Or you go up in the Kundalini with the Kundalini snake up the spine, the ladder, the 33 vertebrae, and then you come back down, because you're going up and down all constantly. You're going back and forth constantly if you want to do horizontal. You're constantly in and out, in and out. If you go without and then come back into your human self, if you go to the universe and you come back to your soul, you go to that heaven, which is likened to the mind. You go to the top of the tree of life. You go up there, you go above, you go without, you go to the universe, and you imagine what you want. You choose what you want. But then when you come back down from above to below, or from without to back within, or you come back from the universe back to the soul, as the universe, soul, the soul, soul, the soul, soul, the universe, as the Kabbalion says. Well, you do that if you can stay single-minded, or stay in the middle, and know that what you want is manifested, even if the physical world is showing you it's not manifested. That's when you find out you are your own magician. Mental magic, or mental physics, as I like to call it, because it becomes physically real. But it starts in the mind. Everything begins with the mind, because everything ends in the mind, because everything is in the mind. It is both the above, the below, and the in-between. It is the right, the left, in the middle. The balance is mind. There's nothing but consciousness. So if you want to experience something or have something in the physical world, you go to the spiritual world, which is your mind, your imagination. You choose the identity that you now are. I am the person that has that new car, the better job, the health, whatever. And then when you come back to what we call reality, you just go back to your regular life, you stay within. You stay balanced. So when Neville talked about the state akin to sleep type method, any of these methods, but you don't have to do any of these techniques or methods. Just simply choose, because you've been doing it all your life anyway. You simply choose to say, no, I'm healthy. No, I'm happily married. No, I got a good running car. No, I got the puppy dog I want, the rare bicycle I want. I'm always using that example. You have these things. I've had the trip that I want. I went to the concert I wanted to go to, even if I couldn't afford the tickets seemingly, or the tickets were seemingly already sold out. Or I want to find this rare ring or something like that. I already have it. You're the person that has it in mind. When you come back and you don't let the physical world fool you or dictate to you, that's when you see the magic. You become your own wizard, your own witch, your own sorcerer, your own sorceress. And you realize you are the god of your world. You're the decider. You're the chooser. You get to choose what your human character in this human video game, Matrix game, this game of life, gets to experience. And that is godlike power. Because you are the center of your own universe. You're your own God. Don't worry about controlling other people, anything like that. All you need to do is control the identity of how you experience. You have a person at work that's really getting on your nerves, or you're having trouble with your spouse. You don't try to change them with telepathy in your own mind, or trying to manipulate them with, being really sweet and nice, or, be nice, right? But be courteous, be respectful, but respect yourself first. But what you do is you change, I am the identity of the person who's happily married to this person, or I am the identity, I work with this coworker, I get along with them, or I work and there's peace at work. I've had to do that before and watched employees just get fired because, I'm the person who's always respected, and, my work days or whatever. So that's what you do. When I drive home, it's always safely. I drive to work everywhere I go. I drive safely and smoothly. I always arrive safely and smoothly. You choose that. I always have more than enough money. I am the weight I want to be. I have the health that I want. I'm healthy, I'm fit. And you just say that no matter what the mirror, what the doctor says, the bank account, whatever the physical reality says, you have went above and you come back down that ladder. You have went without to the universe and you've come back to your soul. You have went there in mind. You have chosen how it's going to be. You understand? And you bring it back and you go up to the ladder and you come back. Don't separate your two worlds with the Jacob's ladder, with the mind. Don't separate the two worlds with the Kundalini. Choose who you'll be and be that person. Okay, morning break time is over, and when I get a chance to lunch or whatever, I'll edit this together and upload it. May not do it today. I already uploaded one today that I made yesterday. But That's what the Jacob's Ladder is about. That's what the Kundalini is about. That's what the Hermetic maxim, as above, so below, as below, so above, as within, so without, as without, so within, as the soul sold the universe, as the universe sold the soul, because all things are one. And like I said, I've already uploaded a video this morning that I shot yesterday about this seemingly dual reality that we live in, that actually all things are one thing, and they're not separate. They're just extremes of the polarities of the same thing, and those poles, they correspond. And you find that correspondence, that's that balance, that's that middle, that's that alchemy, that's that Sophia, that is the so-called satanic Baphomet. That's actually what it symbolizes, is all one thing. And so you don't separate yourself from your desires, and you also see this world as an extension of your consciousness, and anything you don't like, change what you see, change your state, and you do that by changing the identity. Identify now as the person who has the thing that you want, or experience, the thing you want to experience, or the thing you want to have, or whatever. The better job, the good health, the good money, the good love, whatever. The rare item that you want, whatever. You are identified as that person, and then in this reality, you see this as a mirage, as an illusion, that this fictional world actually changes as you change the script. You change the script and give it the earthly time, or whatever seeming time to go by. Neville Goddard talked about bridges of incident, or bridges of incidents. Things will happen that lead to manifest what you want. You don't have to figure it out. You'll do it anyway. You don't have to figure out how to do anything. Just be yourself. Just do naturally what you're going to naturally do anyway. And you'll be surprised. Many a time you'll be surprised. Things manifest that you didn't expect. I can use the example here at this job, best paying job I've had. It's a pretty decent job. We weren't even going to move to this area. We didn't want to come to this area. And things and situations happened, and everything just was so fucking easy. When it's meant for you, it's easy. It's just going to flow for you. And that's where mysticism talks about flow. Chinese mysticism talks about wu wei, or effortless action. Is action, but it's effortless. Once you realize that this world is just, you are projecting this world. You're the film projector. You're putting this world on the screen by your consciousness and what you're consciously aware of. And if you can stay in your chosen and keep choosing over and over to be true what you want, no, I have an abundance mind. No, I have good health. No, this, that, and the other. Keep choosing that. Do what you got to do. But in the meantime, just choose that as your reality and start seeing the world as that way anyway, within your mind, within your imagination. You're not delusional, but you're just seeing. You'll see that this so-called outer world is actually within. That this world is so-called below you is actually above and up there with you in your mental mind, your heaven. And you will see that you direct all things. All right, it's time to get to work. One final thing I wanted to add, talking about this job. My wife and I, we needed a better situation, better living situation, and better finances and things like that. And when I say we didn't want to come to this area, she had some relatives in this area, and she had reconnected with them. Well, what happened was we was also wanting to manifest some family reconnections and things like that on her end of the stick. And what has happened coming here has created a chain reaction and some wonderful reunions and reuniting with family, some other family members through moving here and reconnecting. Also, we've developed a really good family relationship, just living in this area. Again, this is not where we actually want to live or anything like that, but this works for now. And things have really been amazing. So I like to say that, yeah, we manifested a better financial and living situation for ourselves, absolutely. But compared to what we had previously, but it's not the actual thing that we have imagined as far as our living situation, our financial situation, things we want. But this is part of the manifestation of something else that we want, is reconnection with some people on her side, her family, things like that. And it has been amazing. I have built relationships with these people, my in-laws and things like that. It's fucking amazing. It's really wonderful. My wife is really getting close with people that she has, been estranged from and been separated from for years and things like that. And it's an amazing thing. So it's building family and things like that. But in the meantime, we have a much better financial situation, and living situation than we had previously. So we see this as bridges of incident, for that matter. So this is not like my dream thing that I want to do, but it's the job is the finances, things like that are much better. Things just get better and better and better, and that's another thing people talk about. Say for yourself as a kind of a mantra or incantation, what's that term? Affirmation. Just say that. Just think that of yourself all the time. Just things are always getting better. Things are amazing. Those types of things. Always just think that to yourself. Never speak badly about yourself. You can joke, but never speak badly or be in the state of mind badly about yourself. But yeah, I just wanted to add that in, is that we have things that we want to manifest. My wife and I do, and definitely one of them was reconnecting with some members of her family, and it has just been fucking amazing because it all started from moving here. I got a job, better financial situation, better living situation, and we reconnected initially with one part of our family, but then through that reconnected with other people, and it has been just awesome, and been building a relationship and things like that. Eventually we want a different living situation, different financial situation, and things like that we're wanting to manifest, right? So always see things as getting better for you, and they are always working out for you.